Howdy y'all, Christi here with Little Salty Homesteader. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am a backyard gardener in Zone 8A in North Texas. If this is your first time joining me, welcome. For everybody else, welcome back. Today I am actually going to be assembling a new raised bed. It is going in my tomato patch where I previously had 7 and 10 gallon grow bags. Those worked fantastic. I loved growing tomatoes in them. Tomatoes did really well, but I really love growing food in raised beds. It's a little bit easier for me, a little bit less strenuous on my back and all that stuff. So I'm slowly upgrading and getting rid of the fabric grow bags and kind of transforming the backyard in the process. So let me kind of show you what I have here, and then we will unbox this thing and then start putting it together. So let me scoot back so you guys can see everything here. Okay, and adjust the camera angle a bit. I'm going to move this back just a little bit more. So this kit is the 10-in-1 metal raised bed. It is 17 inches tall, much like this one. This is by Vigo Garden, and it has several different configurations that you can build the raised bed in, so you're not stuck with just this long straight line here. This is just what works best for the yard space that I have here. So I'm going to be building this one to be just like this, but with one minor change. Let me grab that other box really quick. So this bed that's going to be put here to my right is actually going to be 2 foot longer than this one. So this one is 9.5 foot, and originally I was going to make this one 11.5 foot, but my house ends pretty much where that 9.5 foot starts, and then I have a gutter draining down right here, and I didn't want to impede that water movement with this very first raised bed, so I left it at the 9.5 foot length. This one I'm going to go ahead and make a little bit. I'm going to add the extension panel in, and it's going to be 11.5 foot long. Now I haven't decided yet if I'm going to bring it like 2 foot that way, or 1 foot that way, and 1 foot behind me, or 2 feet behind me. I kind of have some wiggle room as far as this middle bed goes, so I'm just going to kind of build it and then see what looks best from different angles within the yard, and then decide where its final place will be. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get this bad boy opened up and see what we have inside. Now I already have 2 other raised beds on the other side of the backyard that Jake, my husband, got for me for Christmas in 2022. Those I was able to successfully grow a lot of food out of last summer, which is what sort of solidified the decision to upgrade all of the other fabric grow bags to the raised beds as well. So everything is the same color option. This is the olive green. Vigo Garden does have other colors. They have a darker green, a gray, a tan, and then they introduced a couple of new colors as well. So there's like a pretty blue color, and I can't remember the other color, but they have a lot of options, so you can sort of, you know, customize your garden beds based on what looks best to you or what you're kind of going for in your garden area. This shade of green just happens to be my favorite color, so it all worked out. Okay, so I'm just opening up this box really quickly. Now, I ordered this on Wednesday afternoon, and I mean like 1 p.m. in the afternoon, so probably after, you know, after shipping programs or whatever. the shipping services have already picked up at the warehouse for the day. I received this part yesterday, Saturday, via FedEx. So the shipping was pretty quick. They shipped it out Thursday morning, I'm assuming. So what you have inside of here is all of the panels that you need to build the bed, including including me injuring myself. So I'm just going to go ahead and take these out of the box because it's kind of a booger to put them back in. And then there's some shorter ones. And then of course you have your round panels that make up the end pieces. Now within here is also the bracing rods to provide it a little bit more stability, keep the sides kind of from collapsing in on each other and all that. Because this does have different configurations, if you want the wider option, that is like 6 foot wide or 5 foot wide, something like that, you'll have to select the other bracing rod option. This is the shorter one, so this one will be 2.5 foot or 4 foot, depending on what I decide to do. I'm going with the 2.5 foot option. And then there is the bag of hardware pieces, and these might have fallen out of the bracing rods. So these just kind of screw in there. So, oh, that's to connect if you want to do the 4 foot option. So there's these little, like, I don't want to call them bolts because they don't have any heads on them. They're just, here, I'll come show you. So it includes these to join the bracing rods together for the wider 4 foot bed option. And then you get the instructions, and they give you a decal. I've seen some people put these on the sides of their beds. I don't do that just because, like, I'm sorry, the dog is goofy today. I don't put it on the outside of my bed simply because I am a very rough gardener. I'm rough with the water hose, I'm rough with the weed eater. That's the other reason why I'm upgrading beyond the fabric grow bags, is because whenever I come through with the weed eater, nothing is safe. So I think that's everything in that box. Inside of this is the safety edging and then all of the fastener pieces. So let me just open that up and show you really quickly. The safety edging, it goes along the top rim here, and then, oh, it's a different bag. Okay, so this is like a fabric type bag, when previously it was in like a plastic Ziploc type baggie. This is probably more eco-friendly, I'm not 100% sure. Now, if you wanted to, you could tear this or break this box down, get rid of all the tape, and then use it underneath your raised bed to kind of kill off any weeds or whatever. I'm actually saving my box because this home that we live in is not our forever home, and I am taking my raised beds with me whenever we do find that forever home. So I'm saving all the boxes so I can disassemble them and put them back in the box and move them and put them all back together again. And then this part, okay, so these beds are really easy to assemble. I mean, like, really easy. I did this one completely by myself, and I did one of the other two completely by myself. The most tedious part is the edging. It's just because it fits so tightly on there. It's such a snug fit. It's not gonna come off once it's on. Because of that, it's kind of a bear to put on there, which is fine. And I haven't actually busted into the extension kit, so let me cut that open and see what we're working with. What did I do? I am such a disorganized gardener. I just have stuff everywhere. I didn't know what I did with this, and I found it in the raised bed. Okay, so this piece I actually got last year whenever I thought that I was going to make this one really long. And it's just been sitting in the office waiting for me to get the next raised bed. So here. This has the fasteners that you need, and then it has an extra set of bracing rods and more of this edging, because as you make the bed longer, you need more edging. And then the extension panels themselves. Okay, so let me just get these boxes out of the way. Like I said, I am keeping these, so I will just tape them closed and put them in the attic until I need to disassemble things. Okay. So whenever you open up your raised bed and you pull all the pieces out, each of the panels is actually coated with this clear plastic. And if I remember correctly from putting this one together, it's on both sides. This is also one of the tedious parts, but it does protect it in shipping and, you know, storage, what have you, from getting scratched up and dinged up. So you do have to go through and peel it off of every single panel, even the curved ones. I'm going to create a pile for trash right there so I can take it all at once, and then try to find a bubble or something to get my nail under. That seems to be the easiest way that I found. I'm sure I can use the box blade to try to wedge underneath there, but I don't want to scratch it. And this is where I will just sit on the ground. The end! We did it! Okay, so obviously that is also one of the tedious parts of this, but it isn't too bad. I mean, if you have like good music playing or whatever, it goes by pretty quickly. So the instructions will walk you through the basics of assembling each of the panels, and then the back page will show you each of the configurations that you can make with just the basic 10-in-1 kit that is not including the extension kit that I am adding onto it. So it kind of shows you which piece goes where, because there are obviously the curved pieces for the end, and then there are the shorter pieces that will go next to the ends, and then all of the long pieces go in the middle of that. So kind of, at least for this long skinny bed. So you can kind of see all the different configurations that you can get with the 10-in-1. It's really easy to put together. There are a ton of fasteners, the screws and washers and such. There's a ton. The only issue that I have with their packaging, and I'll kind of get into that here in just a minute, whenever I'm assembling the bed, you'll see what I'm talking about. The only issue that I have is that they don't separate the top nuts from the ones that go on the remaining 1, 2, 3, 4 screws, because the top 2 has different nuts than the rest of them. Let's see if the box blade will open this so I can show you. Yes, it did. Fancy that. Okay. So to assemble the panels, and it even gives you a little tool to be able to put the nuts on. So to assemble the panels, you will need the screw right here, bolt. It's a screw because it has a screw head in it, and then a washer, and then depending on if you are doing the top or the bottom bolts, this is what you need. Let me find a bottom bolt. See what I mean? They don't separate it, so you gotta fish through. Okay, so the top bolt is kind of like lug nut style for your car tires. It has like the rounded cover, and that's so you don't like hurt yourself harvesting or doing weeding or whatever. And then the remaining 4 screws in the panel just get a regular nut, and you'll tighten it with this, and then It does not include a screwdriver, so I will need to go inside and grab that. But other than that, it's tightening all the fasteners to all the panels, and then adding the edging, and then that's pretty much it. So let me go run and grab the screwdriver, and then I will be right back out and we'll start assembling this. And I'm also going to change the camera angle just a bit because the bed is going to end up going right there where this mulch is laid out, right there, along where those fabric grow bags are. So I'll be right back. Okay, got my tools. Okay, so I read through the instructions because I wanted to make sure that I assembled them in the order that was recommended in here, because I think I did it backwards whenever I put that one together. Go me. And it does say to assemble all of the straight panels first. So I need to start with a short piece and end with a short piece twice. So I'm going to go ahead and get rocking and rolling on that, and I'm going to put these instructions right underneath you guys. Oh, you know, it'd be helpful if I had all my tools and all my nuts and bolts and things. All right. Okay, so just to show you guys the difference, this is the shorter panel and this is the longer panel. The longer panel is 24 inches, it's 2 foot, so I'm assuming this is about 18 inches because they look about 6 inches different to me. So all you have to do is line up all your little holes, and then you just start adding in your screws with your washer. And then I hand tighten first. I hand tighten all the nuts first, and then I come back and tighten a little bit tighter with the tools. So let's see, I'm gonna start with the bottom because that's the nut that I got. I swear I don't need adult supervision for this. The first one is always the trickiest, right? So this is when it is handy if you do have 2 people, because you can have one person kind of holding one part of the nut and the screw and nut configuration, and then the other person tightening. But I promise you can just do this with just one person. Okay, so here we go. This is actually the bottom. I had to flip it around to be able to do it easily. So what you want to do is all of your nuts are going to go on the inside of the bed, and all of your screws and washers are going to go on the outside of the bed. Makes sense, right? Sure, Chrissy, it all makes sense. Stick with me. I promise it's all going to turn out well in the end. Okay, so nuts and washer. Now I went ahead and did a top. I went ahead and fastened the top just to kind of give this a little bit more stability for me, since, you know, clearly I'm a hot mess assembling this here. All right, so screw and washer go on the outside, and then the nut goes on the inside. So there we have it, 2 panels assembled. I did not require another adult, so I feel pretty good about myself right now. I am going to work on the rest of the assembly on the straight panels. I will speed it up for you guys again, so you hopefully I'll have a good music choice for you guys or something. But thank you for sticking with me so far. Okay, so all of those straight pieces are done. That was something else, let me tell you. Okay, the only pieces that we have left are the rounded end pieces. They assemble the exact same way with the rounded nuts on the top, and then the regular nuts, the remaining 4 holes. And then after the edge pieces or corner, whatever we want to call these, end pieces are put together, then we assemble both ends and then the sides to make one giant piece, obviously. And then we will try to figure out where we're going to put it, and then we will add these bracing brackets. Cool. I'm going to stop the video for this part because my phone is starting to overheat. It's sitting right in the sunlight, so I'm going to stop the video for a little while. I'm just assembling the round pieces. Once that's done, then I will get back to you for assembling the whole thing and getting it into position. Okay, so I have the end pieces assembled the way that they need to be, and I kind of have everything situated where I think the raised bed is going to end up. So at this point, it's just attaching the 4 main pieces together, the 2 ends and then the long sides. At this point, I need to break into the pieces that came with the extension kit, the nuts, I mean, keep saying nuts, the screws and nuts and washers. This bag. It's smooth sailing from here, folks. Okay, so I'm starting with this side that is closest to that row of fabric grow bags that you guys saw earlier in the video. What I am attempting to do is leave enough room for me to be able to get a cart or wagon or something in between the 2 aisles, so that in the event I ever get a huge harvest, I'll be able to drag something behind me to carry it all in. And the same as how I attached all the other panels to each other, I am putting 1 screw into the top and 1 screw into the bottom just to give it a little bit of stability, and then I'm going back and adding all of those middle ones. It is quite warm today in North Texas. I think it's probably pushing 80 degrees. I'm working up a sweat and I'm not even working that hard. The dog is chasing after flying things. And I'm going to move you guys. Hopefully you won't get blasted by the sun again. So this is just more assembling. Oh. Just more fastening bolts and all of those fun things. Let me do the top one first. Where is it? Here we go. Okay, so we have most of this assembled. Not too bad. Let me kind of show you what I was talking about with the nuts, the top two compared to the bottom four, just so you can kind of get an idea here. So this is the top two. They have that kind of rounded nut. I don't know what it's called, so I apologize. And then the bottom four just have regular nuts. Once this is all the way assembled and we have the brackets, the braces in, then I will go back and tighten with the tools all of these bolts, all of these screws and nuts. It is kind of a time-consuming process with the bigger bed like this. Bego Garden does sell smaller options. They sell U-shaped, here, let me sit right here. They sell U-shaped options, L-shaped, many different configurable sizes, as far as like this is the 10-in-1, and then they have, this is the biggest one, and then they have on down from there. And then you can get just like 24-inch, which is just round pieces assembled together. You can get like a 2-pack of those for herb gardens or flowers or whatever your little heart desires. They have many options. This isn't the only thing that they have. This is just what I have for now, because that's what I need for this space that I have at this house. Now, like I was saying, they also have different colors. You're not just stuck with the olive green, even though it is beautiful. It's my favorite color. And then once we get everything tightened and all the bracing rods in, what I need to come back and do is make sure, one, that the bed is as close to level as I can humanly get it. You know, leaving room for Christi human error, of course. And then two, make sure that the path is wide enough for a cart to get down. Now, I didn't do that before I started because I kind of needed it assembled to be able to get the cart down, or see if the cart will fit down the aisle. I'm gonna have to bring it in on this side though, because over there is too close to the in-ground bed that I have. So hopefully my internal math was at least close. Otherwise, we're gonna have to shift things farther down this slope and do some more leveling and some more work, and it's hot and I don't want to have to do that today. So let me get this last panel attached, and then I will show you guys how to attach those bracing rods, and then we get the all of the screws tightened, and then we put the edge trim around, the black trim, and then it's fully assembled. From that point, it's just making sure that it's level. It's where I need it to be as far as getting carts down the aisles or whatever I need to get down the aisle. And then we will discuss filling this bad boy up, because the bigger it is, the more soil it needs. So I'll be back. Okay, it is together, and I have good news, bad news. The good news is that it's together. The bad news is that I think the carts that I have might be too wide. I haven't tried it yet because I still have tools and stuff laying in the way, and you know, go me. So yeah, that's the bad news. But now we can attach the bracing rods, and it looks like we're going to be attaching 4 of them. Let me refresh my memory on which position they attach to. So basically you just screw them into the screws, but I can't remember if it's the second one or the third one. So let me grab those instructions and review them, and then we will go ahead and do that part. I'll put you guys in a shady part inside this raised bed so you can kind of watch to see how that happens. Okay, so yeah, it says 4th bolt hole from the top, so that's going to be this one right here, which I was counting as the 3rd from the bottom. So let me move you guys and then we'll get rocking and rolling. Okay, you guys are super in the shade and I am not. However, the sun is starting to descend now since it's after 12 p.m. So hopefully, okay, so there's gonna be 4 of these. So I'm just gonna kind of lay them where I think they go. And then, yep, that's exactly how they're gonna go. So the extension kit gives you 2 additional bracing rods. The garden bed itself comes with 2. There we go. And so all we're going to do is take off So all we're going to do is lose our screws in the mulch. No, we're going to take off that nut that was tightened onto there, and I'm going to screw that onto that nut, and then we'll do the same thing on this side. Maybe I might have been tightened that one too tight. Let me grab a tool. There we go. So again, what these bracing rods do is they help give the raised bed a little bit more stability to keep your walls from curving inward or too far outward, especially once you begin adding the soil. Okay. Okay, so there we go. This is going to require a little bit more leveling. I'm going to use the mulch that's inside of here to help level it out, simply because there's a lot of it. I need to raise up my left side a bit. This entire part of my yard is on a slope, so that is why I'm having to do a lot of leveling. I leveled out this other one last week, so that one is ready. The sigh of relief is more about how hot it is outside and not so much that this is hard work. This really isn't hard work. It is time consuming and a bit tedious, but overall it's really easy to do. It's just a bunch of repetition to get everything done. The only thing left as far as assembling it is putting on the edge trim, and what that does is it keeps you from cutting yourself on these corners where they meet up. So it's kind of necessary. So I will start that process on camera. At some point I will probably turn the camera off, simply because this video is probably already 242 hours long and y'all have things to do today. So let me grab that and I'll get going on it. Now what I like to do whenever I start the edge trimming is I like to start where 2 panels meet up, because that's going to be much thicker and it's much more difficult to go onto that than it is coming off of it and onto where it's just 1 panel. So like here where these 2 panels join, it's 2 panels thick, so it's going to be much more difficult to kind of get things onto there versus coming off where it's like back into 1 panel. So that's where I like to start. I don't think there's like a set place. We learned that on the second bed build, that it was easier to do it that way. So that's just kind of what I have stuck with for all of the progressive builds, and this is number 4. So just maybe a tip for you guys if you do feel like you will invest in a Vigo bed in your future. So Okay, there. Started it where 2 panels attach, and then just kind of go around, push it down with your thumbs. It does have a metal inside of it, so it will kind of bend a little bit, which is how it's able to fit where it's 2 panels thick. But it's a very, very snug fit. Once it's here, you know, you're gonna have to really work at it to get it to come off. At this point, I'm just going to continue with this edge trim, and I'll be back with you guys whenever it's done so we can discuss next steps. Okay, so let me move that just a bit so we're kind of centered between the two mostly. So I actually did move this a little bit that way so I could get that cart through. That is the widest cart that I have, so if that one will fit, even with these solar lights on here, then my other cart will fit as well, and I will be able to walk through here and do any sort of garden maintenance regardless of how wild and unruly my plants get, hopefully. The only thing that I need to do at this point for this bed is fill it up. So I wanted to take a few minutes to talk to you guys about different ways that you can fill up a raised bed, because it can get pretty costly pretty quickly if you're trying to fill it completely with all brand new soil. So let's discuss some of the other options that there are for filling the raised beds. Vigo Gardens website has several different tutorials on like the hugelkultur method, where you will add cardboard to the bottom, which I have done, and then you will add like a layer of logs, and then sticks and branches, and then leaves and shredded brown paper and newspapers, and then soil, and then compost and aged manure, and then topsoil, and then fertilizer, and then you're ready to plant. I don't have access to logs. I have 2 trees here, but they're staying. So what I am actually going to do to fill up the bottom of my bed is I did trim a couple of branches because I moved a green stalk. They're not like mega hefty branches, they're like pencil thickness, but I am going to put them in here. They're going to break down. As they break down, they're going to contribute to the overall soil health. The other thing that I'm going to be putting in here is there are some dead basil plants that I cut down that I have just kind of left laying around. If you saw my spring garden prep video, you saw the mess that I had. Most of that has already been bagged up and taken by the trash people, but in my other raised beds I still have some like clumps of dead basil and maybe some other pepper plants. I'm not really sure. So I'm going to go grab those, and then I'm going to put those in the bottom too. And then there is nothing wrong with the soil that is in my grow bags. It is very, very healthy soil. I've been growing tomatoes in it for 2 years. The tomatoes grew fantastically. Basil grew fantastically. I had a humongous collard green plant grow in this soil. I mean, I'll try to find a picture of my daughter holding it against the fence, but it's like this big around. It was huge. It was huge. This soil is absolutely fine. There's no like issues with it, so I'm just going to dump it out of these grow bags that have holes in them from the weed eater, my lack of control using the weed eater, and that's going to fill it, not all the way, but some, mostly all of the way. Anyway, so that is my plan. At that point, it's gonna look quite a lot like this one, where it's not full, but it does have quite a bit of soil in it. Now, these bags also have straw mulch. I'm throwing that in there too. It's gonna break down, it's gonna contribute to the soil health. Everything that is in those grow bags is going to create, pretty butterfly, everything that's in those grow bags is going to break down, create a more healthy soil blend within the raised beds. I'm gonna get better vegetables out of it. Once that is done and I'm ready to purchase the compost, I'm also going to be purchasing some potting soil. I'm not going crazy. I'm going to put maybe 2 bags of potting soil per bed. So that's 8 total right now because I don't have the last bed for my tomato patch yet. And then what that is giving me is some of the loose fluffiness that potting soil provides. So it has either cocoa coir or peat moss, depending on which one I get. It has perlite or vermiculite, depending on which one I get. And then all of those wonderful nutrients that potting soil provides within its soil. Compost to the top. Then I'm going to go back in with my fertilizers. I typically like to use Happy Frog fertilizer, just the all-around vegetable blend. I'm going to apply the tomato blend in these two, as well as some molasses and some bone meal and some blood meal. I like to put extra nitrogen in here to get those young tomato plants growing quickly, because it gets so hot here quickly. I want to make sure that they are strong enough to handle the heat. There are other things that you can do to fill your bed. You can go and get a truckload of soil delivered to your house, dump it on your driveway, and you can haul it, buy the gorilla cart full to your raised bed, dump it in there. That's completely up to you. You can fill it with bags of soil, however you want to do it. This way that I'm doing it is going to be quite a bit more economical for me, because hopefully I'm not going to have to buy 45 bags of soil to fill one bed, or however much it would take. I didn't do the math. I don't want to do that math. That's hard math. I don't know. I do enough math for work. I don't want to do it in my garden either, other than how many tomatoes did I pick today. So I'm sure that there's other ways to fill these economically. If you know like a farmer that has well-aged compost, maybe you can get it for like 20 bucks or something. I have no idea. I don't know any farmers personally yet. Maybe one day I'll be a farmer myself. I don't know. For now, this is the method that works for me, just using the soil out of my grow bags and my chopped down basil plants from last year. But that is it. We have successfully put together Vigo garden bed over here, and now we get to fill it, and pretty soon we'll get to plant it. But thank you guys so much for joining me today while I showed you how to very clumsily build a Vigo raised garden bed. If you liked this video, please go ahead and like and subscribe, do all the YouTube things, hit the bell, all that stuff, because it really does help me out. I'm getting closer and closer to 1,000, so I will reach my goal this year, hopefully. But thank you guys so much for watching today, and until next time, go find a way to get those garden manicures. Bye!